Here on the Fat and Lazy podcast, where I majestically recline, we're good.
Why?
I'm all just like, yes, Josh, tell me about entertainment news, yes. Comics.
You know, you're lucky I even look for stuff.
Yeah.
It's really had nothing to goddamn talk.
I'm glad one of us is taking things seriously.
I'm not taking it seriously enough.
Started recording, so.
Oh, really?
Yes.
This better be a phone class. We didn't even do an intro.
Hello, everyone.
You're so dumb.
Starter, like just not fun. Keep down and staying in.
Right.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if I want to take another take. Fucking hello, everyone. It's the Dreadpirate once again, and I'm unprofessional as possible. Today I'm with Starkiller Josh, and we have some movie news. Josh did research and stuff and is all prepared, and I'm not. So you know what we're gonna do? I'm just gonna hit you with this, Josh, real quick. I'm gonna do my part really fast.
Okay.
For today. Today, I'm gonna review Pathfinder 2E. So it's not up on the channel yet. It probably won't be for months. But basically, Davis ran the Pathfinder 2E starter set for us, and I played it. I got to play a orc fighter who was also a drug dealer who was basically trying to get his own Band of the Hawk started because his wife was sold into slavery, and so he was like, I want to build a world with no slaves. So I was going full Darth Vader, and I was like, I'll be the most powerful Jedi ever. And I sold... I basically poisoned Porter by trying to get him hooked on my best drug that I had. I fed him Terran brandy, which is made from the blood of dead fairies. And it gave him +2 his spellcasting bonus, but it also gave him -2 to Constitution. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And at the end of the session, it was like I was talking to the to one of the bad guys, and it was just like, "So, like, do you know anybody who wouldn't mind like drinking like dead fairy blood?" It's like, "What the fuck did you give me?" And it's just like, "Oh yeah, I fed you dead fairy blood."
Okay, so you drink this, you know, like inject it.
It's actually from the Book of Vile Darkness. If you remember that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's basically it's made from the essence of dying fae, and it's alcohol that like evil heartless spellcasters drink, and it basically makes their spell casting more powerful, but it also saps their constitution, so it's like it slowly kills them. And it's worth 500. And I basically gave him a sample shot because I thought, I didn't know you were a wizard, bro. I didn't know you were a wizard. Hey, dude, hey, you know, first shot's free. Check it out, man. And like he drank it. It was like great. And it was a little scenario where a lady running a fishery like said, "Oh, a bunch of our fish are going missing. Go check it out." We go down there. There's a bunch of giant rats. Like obviously the giant rats took it. No. Apparently something else did it, and it was like kobolds. And they dug a hole in the wall, and we had to basically go into the Underdark for a bit. And there was a giant spider, and a bunch of zombies we ignored, and eventually kobolds. And I completely surprised Davis by, like, we ran into a couple kobolds. Before I could say anything, they attacked me, so we killed them. And I got to, like, one-shot 3 kobolds, which was great. Also, like, the last one apparently I cleaved right in half, and, like, right before I attacked him, I'm like, a sun chop! And then it's like, you cleave the kobold right now as a sun shop! So, classic Bugs Bunny. And then we ran into a room with more powerful kobolds, and I'm all like, "Greetings, kobold friends! I have a proposition for you." And they're like, "What?" And it was like, I basically said, "Hey, you know, you guys are like stealing fish. You guys can do better than that. How would you like to be part of a mercenary band?" And I won my diplomacy check, and module over. I just joined the bad guys. And, like, I convinced the kobolds to no longer steal the fish. We lied to the lady who ran the fishing shop and said, "Oh, yeah, there was a bunch of kobolds down there. We totally killed them all. But, man, we were so badly wounded. Oh, you should pay us more gold." She didn't actually have more gold to pay us, but she believed we were genuinely in harm. So we solved the problem, and then I made an alliance with the leader, Kobold Zolgran, and befriended him, and we agreed to form, like, a mercenary band. And then he explained the reason they were stealing fish was because they have a baby green dragon they've been feeding fish, and they want to raise it. Like, "Oh, you have a dragon? I can use a dragon. And so, like, I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to buy a fishing vessel for you guys. We're going to go fishing, and we're going to form this mercenary band and reshape the world in my image. I mean, our image. And I got the other 2 player characters to reluctantly go along with it. And then the last thing I did was I gave the Kobold Leader ecstasy tablets. Because my character had ecstasy as a drug. So in conclusion, like my review of Pathfinder 2E is that I really like. It actually plays pretty good. Davis did a good job running it. The best thing about it is like every turn, like for the characters, is you're given like 3 actions you can take. So that kind of simplifies things. You can either like attack 3 times. You can move 3 times. Like say the dragon was like an adult and I was running the fuck away from it. It's like, okay, I can just like double move run 3 times and just phew, and peace out.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it kind of breaks things down nice and easy because like you can do that stuff in like other versions, but it's like, oh well, that's a standard action. Well, that's a full round action. That's like it gets.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, just do 3 things. So pull out a weapon, attack, run away. It makes things really easy. I used Lord Cat's legendary technique on the spider, which was the flaming bedroll attack, where we found the spider webs, and it's like, I don't want to walk through that. Oh, I got an idea. I pulled out a bedroll, and I told Porter's character to like douse it in like oil, and then light it on fire, and just rolled it into the webs, and set fire to the spider, and that helped us out. So it was pretty good. My biggest problem was the character creation process. I actually told Davis, it's like, listen, Davis, if this is bullshit, I'm just going to make a 3.5 version of this character and play it without telling you if this goes tits up. I feel like the SRD that's available online for new players who don't necessarily buy the books is really crap. It's like, it doesn't use numbers, it uses a lot of terminology. It says, oh, you're an expert in reflex, you're an expert in fortitude. What the fuck does that mean, Davis? And it was like, and I think really that what it boils down to is it's a new system, but it's also, it's like, it's the SRD's fault. The SRD doesn't explain expert means you get a +4 bonus, and you need that. You need, like, everybody hates numbers in D&D, but you need your numbers in D&D. You need, I need to know how much I'm going to add to this D20 roll to beat your whatever. I need to know what that is. And it's like, instead of using numbers, it uses words, and that's confusing. It's like in Arrested Development, where maybe goes to the school where they don't give letter grades, they give out pictures. It's like, okay, well, you have a picture of a duck building a sandcastle in your reflex stat, and it's like, okay, that tells me nothing. That tells me absolutely nothing, Davis. And so I feel like the character creation process is very unfriendly, but other than that, it's like once you actually get the hang of it, it's better. It's probably better if you buy the book, like Davis did. So I guess I'm recommending go to DriveThruRPG and buy the Pathfinder 2 ebook. I'm still not necessarily in love with the system, but I thought it was better. Like, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm happy to eat crow on this, because I was bitching. I was very like, why don't we just do Pathfinder? Why don't we just 5e, Davis? Is like, I believe in you, Davis. You don't need to run into this shit system. I was very salty, but I'm happy to eat crow. It was a very enjoyable experience. We might do something with it later. Pathfinder 2e review done. Your thoughts?
I don't have any. I've heard of Pathfinder. I know about it. Never played it though.
Okay, it's basically Dungeons and Dragons. It's literally like 3.5.
I heard of it.
Yeah,
but different, and I didn't know how different. And so, what you mentioned to me sounds really cool. It almost sounds more enticing than D&D, actually. So I don't know. That sounds pretty cool. I'm glad that you ate crow. I love what you do.
He likes it. He likes it. And it's just like, this is good life cereal. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have notes because Josh sent me notes. I know what we're talking about. Things. Venom 2. Your brother talked about this, and you was really excited about it. And he's like, Carnage looks awesome. And I'm like, I don't like that first move, whatever. It's like, if it's part of Marvel doing it, I'm excited, and you know more about it than I do, so go.
Alright, so I don't know when it's going to come out, but a few days ago, the trailer finally dropped. It is called Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Okay? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder who the villain is. But granted,
really,
this was
Vanisher. Another X-Men, like, spoiler. It's...
Well, no, that's not as fun. I was thinking,
Let there be carnage. Okay, and then Venom gets ready, and I'm the Venom.
I was thinking of a really obscure Marvel character villain, but not the Venom. I was thinking the Ringmaster. Like way out of left field, and the Carnage is more like a circus, out of control.
Right.
And you know what? Just to mess with everyone, we're gonna do more for the Ringmaster than we ever needed to, and we're gonna cast Hugh Jackman so that he can relive his Greatest Showman again.
Yes.
And he will sing us to death while there's fire burning in the background.
Oh, he's gonna be dancing on the bar like he did in that one scene. That was so good.
I hate to admit
I think you and I love that stupid movie way too much.
I really like that scene.
Yeah.
Like that's probably that bar scene with him and Zac Efron is probably my favorite. That's weird because it's not even the biggest one.
You know what? Fuck it. Quick review of the the Ringmaster. So the Ringmaster is very entertaining, especially if you love musical theater. It's just like wonderful dancing, wonderful singing. It's like Hugh Jackman is just having the time of his life, and you're just sitting there like, wow, this is so beautiful. And horribly historically inaccurate, because this is not who B.T. Barnum was. He was an asshole, but it's like, that's the Ringmaster.
It's basically. I mean, I think a lot of people say this now, but
Greatest Showman was the movie, not the Ringmaster. Ringmaster is a wrestling.
Yes, I know, but in my head, it's the Ringmaster. It's funny enough. You need to look up what Ringmaster looks like in the comics. It's hilarious. You gotta look at that purple and green outfit and just picture Hugh Jackman with that. It's hilarious.
Okay, the Ringmaster from Marvel?
Yeah, from Marvel.
I'm doing it.
Stan Lee created him back in the day. I can't remember which comic he came out of, though. Because he made a lot of appearances in Spider-Man and the Avengers. That's the part. I wish I could throw up a picture of that.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a fucking
minute. Of course you know who he is.
Okay,
you know
alright. So, do you remember Spider-Man magazine?
Yes.
Yes,
I do actually.
Okay.
Oh, once upon a time there were these things for magazines.
Yes.
People bought them and read them.
I remember when I was a kid, Spider-Man magazine was a big deal in the 90s when Spider-Man X-Men were out, and it was basically just kind of promotional for the Spider-Man cartoon, the Spider-Man animated series, and the X-Men animated series. And so, when you got every book, it would be fun stuff about Spider-Man, fun stuff about the X-Men. It was like, oh, and there are other Marvel characters too, but fuck them. Avengers, what are those? Fantastic Four, but like they would include like little mini comics for Spider-Man and the X-Men, and I think the very first issue they had was about a circus with mutant animals in it, which were like alligators and lions put together, like basically chimeras from Full Metal Alchemist. And I want to say the Ringmaster was the villain. I'm looking at that image of him, and it's like, that's the same guy. Yeah, like, of course, because Stan. Like Stan was like, oh, when you're doing Spider-Man magazine, could you put the Ringmaster? We haven't seen him in a long time. I had a lot of fun making the Ringmaster. It's like, I know this man. I know.
Will this show up?
Yes.
You gotta throw it up there.
It's the Riddler, but with stars. You know what it looks like? It looks like the Ringmaster from... Oh, God. Oh, my God. Fucking Death Battle ripped this character off.
Mm-hmm.
Those faggots that, like Rooster Teeth. Like, because they have that Ringmaster character, and I'm, like, saying it looks like the Ringmaster from, like, from DBX, just not gay and obnoxious.
Hold on. Before you put too much on them, the truth is, this is a very basic-looking Ringmaster outfit from a circus in general.
Yeah.
Okay? But if you take away the colors from it. Just look at the coat, the top hat.
No, we do exhaustive research before we, like, claim that every Marvel character can move at the speed of light. You know, assholes, they didn't do the fucking research, and they just fucking ripped off the Ringmaster from Stan Lee. They did it.
Well, I have a question.
Made him really annoying. I hate the Ringmaster from DBX. I can't watch DBX anymore because of it.
Yeah, but the Ringmaster from Marvel is not good either. Okay? There's a reason he has a very punchable face. And in every animated version I've seen him, he has a very punchable voice. It's the ring. No, the ringmaster gets no love, but there's no reason to. I haven't found a single writer, even Stan Lee, who wrote him likable, sympathetic, or even cool. Like, he's not even a dastardly, but he's just really like, look, I have a mustache to twirl.
There's one writer who liked writing him, and that was Stan, because Stan likes his cheese every now and then.
But he did, but again, he didn't. Trust me, he didn't do any monumental stories with him.
You have your autograph issue with Spider-Man fighting Chance, right?
Oh yeah, but that's not Stan Lee. That's Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane, okay.
Because Todd McFarlane that's the first issue Todd McFarlane ever did of Spider-Man. It was this character called Chance, which is a lot. Reading it was a lot cooler than I thought. Because when I first saw the cover, I was like, the character looks like generic.
Well, like some of the older issues with Chance is a Stan Lee character. Chance is like one of his creations, and Chance. Okay. I don't feel like Chance is one of his best creations, but it's like there's like okay, so Chance, if I recall, his deal is he's a thief who, instead of just like being hired out by whoever to steal shit, he makes a bet with his employer that I bet I can steal this for you, and if I lose the bet, you don't have to pay me. And he has like a weird high-tech Iron Man suit, and he goes and steals things, and then Spider-Man stops him. And like in every appearance, he always fails, and it's like he's like supposed to be a master billionaire thief, and it's just like he always loses. And I'm like, how does this guy exist? It's like every time he shows up, he fails, but he also makes a bet. Like, aha, well, I lost this time, so you don't have to pay me. It's like, okay, you should like not be employed. You should not have like any money left. This guy should be like this is a character that should wind up in a casino just like pulling slots all day. Well, I didn't win this time, so I don't have to pay me more money.
That's exactly what he is. He's essentially, there's a tragic story of a compulsive gambler in that.
Yeah.
But no one's writing him though. Anyway,
he also kind of looks like a young Stan. He's got that mustache.
Okay, no, the mustache is different. I remember his mustache was more down. This guy's is like, Ringmaster has shaved this middle part, has grown this out the handlebar, like all the way out here. It's just like, okay. Plus, the Ringmaster has that top hat is hypnotic. It has a little mechanism that hypnotizes you. That's his thing. Is hypnotizing you. That's his whole thing. Mm-hmm. So if the one from Death Battle has that, then you win. But if you can't hypnotize you into liking that show, then it's not a ripoff of the Ringmaster from Marvel.
I want the Ringmaster from Death Battle to fight the Ringmaster from Marvel, and I want the Ringmaster from Marvel to, like, aha, you're hypnotized. First of all, stop talking. Second of all, take this knife and rip out your vocal cords. Alright, now walk into my ring with my mad tigers, eat him. That's the show, everybody. Ha ha ha. And I'd be down for that.
He just goes, Death Battle, I win. Okay.
Venom's
now, let's talk. Yeah, I was gonna say, let's talk about Venom 2. Fine, skip all that other stuff. Yeah. So Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It'd be more fun if you had seen the trailer itself, because me personally,
guess what I'm doing when we're done today.
Yeah, but me personally, I'm not gonna break it down. Yeah. I'm sorry for everyone who thought that's the case. I'm just giving my thoughts and opinions on it. Mm-hmm. Because the trailer is weird, and for me, I think some people like this. I'm assuming there's some people getting some hype on it. For me personally, I'm kind of blasé about it, because I did like the Venom movie, unlike you, but I liked it for what I knew it was going to be. I didn't have these great expectations, because a lot of things were not like the There Be Carnage.
Let's clarify this. You gave it a chance. I told it to fuck off. There's a difference. Yes. You actually gave the movie a chance. I'm like, I have other things I want to watch right now.
No, because when I finally saw the movie, and it was a long time after it came out, I was like, okay, I'm going into this knowing that there's no Spider-Man. There's no Spider-Man whatsoever. So this origin is going to be similar but very different, and I'm like, I'll see what they can do with the partnership of these two characters and everything. And honestly, Tom Hardy does a great job for what he's given.
Right.
It is a Tom Hardy show. He kind of steals the show doing this weirdness and voicing Venom and being Eddie Brock and going back and forth and all this stuff. But if not for him, honestly, the movie's kind of generic, especially because it was PG-13.
Yeah.
It's funny because the movie, I think in essence the movie was
and they just cut away real quick, and then there's a body with
the movie. From what I heard that at one point the movie was going to be R, and it was filmed R, but they had to reshoot it because they got cold feet last bit, and they made it a studio anyway, made it PG-13.
Right. And
so, I gotta double check. I think this was. There's a rumor that this was R though, but I'm not sure. And it does kind of pick up from, if you didn't see Venom, I don't know, spoiler I guess, but it goes with the trailer because the end credit scene of it has Woody Harrelson as Carnage,
right.
And that he does appear in this quite a bit. They fixed his hair, thank God. He looks better as a serial killer as Cletus Cassidy. He is in Ravencroft, which Spider-Man fans are like, yeah, you actually put that in the movie.
Yeah.
What's it called? But this just, I don't know, again, weird is the word, because the trailer's tone shifts from the beginning of it to the moment they cut to Cletus Cassidy.
Right.
So the beginning of the trailer is him walking around, just living his life with his new partner or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's...
Because Venom is always a love story. Let's
Oh no, it's a trip because it's like and there's this
goofy. So I mean, it's like
there's goofy music playing, and I mean there's a moment where he's like he walks into that same convenience store with the little elderly Mrs. Chen, and he's like, "Hey, Mrs. Chen," and she says, "Hello, Eddie. Hello, Venom," and the tentacle comes out of the back of him. "Hello, Mrs. Chen," and she can't hear that, of course. So Edward says, Venom says hi. Yes, and that's, I love that. I love the face palming because for those who don't know, Dreadpirate over here is clearly ridiculous. And if he was playing Venom in a role-playing game, it's exactly what he would do. Not the whole campaign. Just once in a while to break up the violence and the gore and the viciousness, and you trying to be like epically scary. Every once in a while, you'll like walk into a village. Hello.
Okay, all right. I'm insulted on many levels. One, I've never done that. Two,
sure.
If I did, I probably would. Three. I didn't do that shit. Alex did, because in our City of the Spider Queen game, he played Venom and did really stupid things with Venom, including eating Genji's legs, and then vomiting up Genji's leg in front of a priest of Palor while turning into his full Venom form, causing Reinhardt and Spider-Man to beat the fuck out of him.
And then he said...
And when I, as Spider-Man, got the Venom symbiote and used it in the game, I made Venom scary and freaky, and I know. And very much the disturbed lover that Venom is, and I feel like I did a good job with that. Nick's fucking Dragonborn killed Davis's character and forced Spider-Man to kill as Venom. So it's like I felt I had high drama.
No, what I'm referring to is that you have a tendency, or at least you used to, before you became the DM, you had a tendency to sporadically add comedy to whatever character you had, because
I don't
know
anymore. I totally don't.
This is something he would do. Like he would play the character straight. He would play his character.
Oh God! Josh exploded, and I see the interior of I see doodle. Why is there underwear inside this book?
Hold on. Wait. How do I get? I gotta flip this thing.
Mexico. I see shorts. I see more shorts. I see like a tank top. AUGH. AUGH.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, I'm doing this. This is terrible.
Oh my! Oh, this is the other side of the mountain. This is what
it is. Yes, and I can't.
Oh, I'm freaking out now.
Oh my God!
Spectrum.
It's not recording.
Hold on,
here we go.
There we go. Ah!
Oh no, it's Josh. It took me so long to edit that out. It took me so long to get it.
Anyway, Josh, I'm just going to have you know I wasn't going to do that, but now I am. Now I am going to play Venom, and I'm going to do that. Good morning, Mr.
I mean, like I said,
But this is one thing that bothers me, because that's Toxin. That's Toxin. That's not Venom. That's fucking Toxin. That's what Toxin would do. Toxin would tell me, like... Venom is never... The Venom symbiote has never been the happy-go-lucky. Toxin, on the other hand, very much is. I can see Toxin totally like, oh, hi, babe, how's it going? That's just my symbiote. How's it going?
Okay, yeah, so to be fair, I don't know how many people know Toxin, but Toxin is the progeny of Carnage.
Right. And,
yes, was bonded with a policeman and was younger, and even though it had that aggression and wanted to hurt or maim things, was able to be controlled.
Yeah.
And rationalized.
Basically, however, he's a symbiote with the mentality of a teenage boy.
However, that character has changed dramatically as the years went on. In fact, the symbiote even went to Eddie Brock at one point, but that's a whole other story.
Okay.
And a lot of those attributes don't really exist in Toxin as much. It's a shame.
Aww.
Yeah, it's a long story. They kind of messed Toxin up.
Aww.
Funny thing is, now here's a weird thing.
Toxin's fun.
I've heard a rumor that Toxin may be in this at some point. And I'm like, okay, early. But, anyway, moving on to this thing.
Yeah.
So, like I said,
I'll get to mine in a moment. You first.
So it's weird. And he has him walking around doing this kind of stuff. And there's another moment that he's reading, I think, the newspaper or something, while the symbiote that's just tentacles all over the apartment cooking. And he's making food for him and all this stuff. And it's wacky, odd couple shit.
I need to do this now. Fuck you, Sony. Fuck you, Sony. Stop. I will never forgive you for Ghostbusters 2016. Or Pixels.
So then...
Or the Emoji Movie.
Okay, well here's the thing.
Dark Tower is okay. Wolf would disagree. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Getting back on track here. The rest of the trailer, though, changes in tone. I guess so dramatically, where once the wacky, odd couple, whatever shenanigans goes away, we have this voiceover by Woody Harrelson, and we see Ravencroft, and even the musical tone is more orchestral and dark, and he's trying, he's playing up the uncouth shit and all this stuff, and in this he escapes. It looks like he's getting lethal injection, and once the needle touches the blood, it opens up. It's kind of like similar to Maximum Carnage.
Yeah.
Where when he touched the blood came out because the symbiote lives in his blood. For those who don't know, and it came out. They don't show how he gets it exactly yet. The trailer, and there is a woman in there that I'm pretty sure is Carnage's
symbiote. John and I were talking about this too, right?
No. No, remember what's okay? Then I get the name wrong.
No, because I asked him about this, and he was all like, "No, it's the female Venom," and it's just like that's Scream. Scream is like, "No, that's a different character." Like, And I asked, is it Shriek from Maximum Carnage, or is it Scream, the female symbiote from Separation Anxiety?
You never really read Maximum Carnage. Okay, so don't even.
What,
he knows the game.
Or him?
Not him.
Yeah.
I think he played the game well, but he didn't remember her name.
Video game. We were talking about the video game.
Yeah, Shriek. Shriek.
He said, "Oh, did you Maximum Carnage?" I think he was like talking about the video game, but it was like.
Yeah, but Shriek in the comics is like alabaster white with black hair and everything, and
he needs a hard on this show. We need to have a three-way argument. No, I read the fucking comic. Shut up, Josh.
Anyway, hold on. In this, you can tell it's her only because like the scars on her eyes and her hair is kind of accurate, but she doesn't have like insanely pale skin or whatever. She's clearly a prisoner. They don't really show her off much. There's a lot of good. I mean, it's straight up, like here he is. There's Carnage, and he's all his glory busting through the wall with the tentacles, and they're all red and the black on him and everything. It's just like, okay. Yeah, it's like, again, it's kind of cool in that they do want to do this, and they want to take it semi-seriously, in a sense. They're trying to make it at least they're not trying to make it a trash fire. They're trying to make it competent enough that you just like it. You know what I mean? And that's aside from a lot of gripes. That's how I felt too. Where I was like, yeah, Venom was alright. This one, it's probably the same thing. I don't think it's going to blow me away, but I won't look at it as, oh my god, a disgrace. You know what I mean? Whereas I look at it and go, okay, multiverse, we could probably get a better Venom Carnage story later. This is not that bad, or what have you.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I'm thinking for now. So that's it. That's all I got to tell you on that one. Go see the trailer. It's not that long, obviously. There's not much to it.
So my feelings about this. Again, you gave the movie a chance, and I said no, and I'm like fuck that movie, and I haven't watched it as a result. And my reason being a couple things. One, fuck Sony, because look, they killed Michael Jackson. All right, well, at least Razorfist told me they did. And aside from that, the Josh Starkiller does not support the opinions of Dreadpirate.
No, I don't.
There's things to that, but whatever. Okay, as a company, they make good things. They make good video games. They make good movies on occasion. But they also have made a lot of really stupid decisions over the years that, in particular, their movie department. Their movie department is pretty hit or miss. It's like every now and then, a movie comes out, and I really like that. Oh, by the way, that was a Sony movie. Oh, okay, cool. And then every now and then, it's like, oh, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, oh, it was a Sony movie. Oh, well, yeah, of course it was. And it's like, and then I think the entire reason we have Spider-Man back in Marvel Comics is because Sony kowtowed to a dictator for 5 minutes. If you recall, remember the interview situation where the movie with Seth Rogen and James Franco about Kim Jong-un and
it was partially because of the leaked email thing,
right?
And also they weren't doing really well with their Spider-Man franchise and a couple other things. The things that they were saying they were going to do that leaked, people were like, oh, this is terrible, whatever. So there was bad press, and that's why they were willing to make a deal with Marvel Studios,
right,
to be fair, on sharing Spider-Man.
Basically, the interview is the reason we have Spider-Man back. It's not there was yes, Josh, there were larger in the works things that were going on for years, but the straw that broke the camel's back was the interview. Okay. The interview came out. Kim Jong-un threatened to blow up movie theaters like a terrorist piece of shit that he is. And then we and they were like, oh, we can't show the movie. They can't show the movie until people bitch, and it's like, oh, so you're gonna freaking back a dictator? You're gonna do what a dictator says, Sony, and they look like shit. And then amidst all that, Spider-Man got brought over to Marvel again, and the lady they fired and blamed on the whole thing went over to work for Marvel, and she's awesome.
But she wasn't blamed for the interview. Like I said, the interview wasn't it. It's just that the interview came up for it. There was a hack.
Well, they let her. Yeah. All this shit went down, and then mysteriously around that time, North Korea's entire internet went off. I wonder who did that. USA.
Okay.
Navy CPs. Fuck yeah. So, so I had a point. To what I was talking about. Anyway, so Sony, one problem, Sony is very hit or miss for me, and Sony, especially when it comes to Spider-Man and other things, makes a lot of bad decisions. And I feel like one of them is this thing they went on, which actually is DC Comics' problem, which is, let's make a bunch of movies about villains for characters we haven't introduced yet, because that's a good idea. And that started with fucking Suicide Squad. We haven't done a proper Batman movie, but let's make a Joker and a Harley Quinn Quinn piece. Let's go do that. And I have a huge problems with that. And then Sony was all like, let's do the same thing, because they wanted to do a multiverse, like they wanted to do their own universe like the MCU, but all they had was Spider-Man, so let's just take a bunch of Spider-Man characters and make movies about them, even though none of them work as solo characters. It's basically, let's make an entire movie franchise about supporting characters. If Marvel had not had stepped in, if we had not gotten to the point we are at right now, dude, no, we'd be seeing a Mary Jane fucking movie in 10 years. No, 2 years' time. 2 years' time. And as hilarious that would be, it's like, that would totally fucking happen. I'm like, no. I'm not going to watch your Mary Jane romantic comedy. I'm not doing it.
But in truth, like I told you this before, they were planning to do a universe with the Spider-Man stuff, just like DC was, just like Universal was, just like everybody's been doing, because the MCU was successful.
Yeah.
So they had a bunch in the works, and the Sinister Six was being built. They wanted to do a Sinister Six movie.
Yeah.
And they were building it up in Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah. We don't know how that happened. But there was plans to still do it anyway. And there was even talk of a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie, and all kinds of
and
stuff.
A Jackpot film. Yeah, the character that's been in 10 issues.
They decided to, after the deal, they were still going to do Sable and Black Cat after the deal with Marvel, but something happened with just, screw it, it's not working, and then they put all their eggs into Venom.
Yeah.
So
it's like, yeah, like they had this weird trend. It's like the whole Sinister Six movie. It's like, thank God that didn't work out. And it's like, I mean, it's part of the reason why I had issues with the Joker movie and things like that, is because it's like, stop. I feel like especially for like villains, you need to. I'm not against this idea in concept, but when you're getting the ball rolling and you're introducing like when you're making movies about this thing, when a character hasn't really been or properly introduced in the movie yet, because, I mean, in Venom's case, Spider-Man 3, and I love Spider-Man 3, but jazz hands and other issues. It's like, I feel like you do it properly, and the problem is like, a lot of these characters, it's like, are dependent on them being villains of Spider-Man. They don't really work on their own. And I think Venom is like the extreme example of that. Venom in the comics literally is completely dependent on Spider-Man just to exist. You need the symbiote to kill Spider-Man, and you need to do the story of Spider-Man and the black costume and it driving him crazy, and you need to do it properly. Not jazz! No Tobey Maguire jazz dancing! No! No emo Spider-Man in the process. You need to do, and I like this movie for some reason. You need to do that, like you need to do that movie, that whole arc justice, and then it copies his powers, and then it goes to Eddie Brock, and Eddie Brock and the symbiote are both bitter, and then you can do Venom, and then you can do a whole movie about Venom, and then you can do a whole movie about Carnage. But you really need Spider-Man to germinate this, and they didn't do that. They just said, let's go get Mad Max. Why do I always forget his name? Why do I do this? Tom Hardy. Let's go get Tom Hardy, who I have argued has a curse on him. Like Papa Shango from the WWE put a curse on him a long time ago, where until Mad Max Fury Road finally broke that curse, he enters a sci-fi series and breaks it. It was just, he was Shinzon in Nemesis, fucked up Star Trek for a while. He was Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. Oh, look at the silly thing on my face! Oh! And how I feel about that movie. And then finally, it's just, he keeps on coming into sci-fi franchises and fucking them up. It's just like when he does his own thing and like he does dramas, he's fine. And then Mad Max, he's great. He's great in Mad Max. It's like, yay, the curse is broken. And then they made him Venom. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. And as you said, and I believe you. It's like, I believe he did a good job. I believe they did a good job for what they were doing, but it's just like, yeah, let's just do Venom and just not have Spider-Man involved at all. It's fucking retarded, and it pisses me off, and I'm like, no, I'm not watching your movie. And I'm gonna be bitter about it. I'm never, ever, ever, ever gonna watch your movie. Never, never. No, it's gonna be bad. Oh, multiverse? Okay, fine. So, and then we go into what we talked about previously, where, they're going to bring in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire into the MCU and as part of the multiverse stuff. And it's just like, oh, well, now I love the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. because it's a multiverse, and now I'm fine. Now it's like, even though I was much bitching before. And again, I think the real gold in that movie, of course, was angry, disapproving cop dad by Dennis Leary. That's where the gold was for that movie. But and I remember like just talking with you about this, like all the negotiations behind the scene, thinking to myself, like, look, if Sony gives us Spider-Man back forever, permanently, and does this right, fine. I will take your shit Venom movie. And it's dumb continuity, fine. People like that movie. People seem to enjoy it. Sure. So, it's like, this is a situation where I'm kind of like, even though I didn't want to see it initially, I'm kind of maybe willing to eat crow again and go back and, like, give it a shot. And just, like, okay, fine. This will be the MC, like, again, they got certain things right. They got, like, the interactions with Venom and Eddie Brock right. It's just like, you know, they did certain things well. So it's like, I'm willing to kind of give it a chance then. Who was the villain in the movie? The villain was like some kind of monster too, right?
Okay, so the villain was blah, but I forgot the name of the character. Like, essentially the symbiote in it is one of the symbiotes from the comics. Riot. He's all silver.
Okay, so it's Riot from the Life Foundation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Life Foundation is in this. Actually, it's the guy who's in charge is the head of the Life Foundation, and that's the connection. Like it's got very Venom things too, but like Venom, not Spider-Man creating Venom kind of thing. Like, it's funny because this movie feels, to me, it's almost felt like this story could have existed as the spin-off movie it should have been,
right.
Where after it had already been created, he goes to, because it's not in New York, it's San Francisco, which Eddie Brock and Venom go. That's the Lethal Protector storyline.
Yeah.
Separations. He was in San Francisco for a bit, so that's fine.
Yeah, I just wish they'd done that. I wish they'd introduce him in a Spider-Man movie first, or a Spider-Man show, or something. Then do your spin-off movie. That's just, I wish we would go in that order, and they just don't do it.
Yeah, me too. I really think that's what it could have been. Because the thing is, legally, Sony has the rights to pretty much everything else Spider-Man, or a lot of Spider-Man stuff.
Right.
But they're lending the Peter Parker character and whatever's linked to him, or what they really haven't used, which I think is part of the reason why you don't see or haven't seen any Osborns, or why the villains that he's facing are ones that we know about, but we haven't seen in movies previous. So that's what it was, not an Electro or Doc Ock or whatever right away.
Right.
And I think that's supposed to be, they will eventually come out, but they were trying to ease it in because right away it was all this legal kind of whatever. But here's the funny thing, like, so from what I heard too, is that they're establishing Venom. Oh, and another, I haven't seen a trailer for this, but there's supposed to be a Morbius film coming out this year too. Because it was supposed to come out last year with Venom, There Be Carnage, and in that, if you had, I'm gonna go on a limb and say you never saw the Morbius trailer, based on your reaction.
I avoided it.
Yeah, Morbius was supposed to come out last year, and Morbius did have a trailer that came out before Venom, and
let's get this out of the way. Let's get this out of the way of all the spin-offs they were planning.
Okay.
And why I hate them. They were going to do a Morbius movie. They were going to do a Kraven the Hunter movie. A Jackpot movie. Black Cat and the Silver Sable. And my personal favorite, and yours and mine, Sleepwalker. A character that only you and I know exists. They were that was like the list of all the things. Oh, we're gonna make this movie, and we're gonna make that movie. We're gonna make a Sleepwalker movie, and I'm like, okay, go ahead, Sony, make a fucking Sleepwalker. Watch no one watch it.
Some of those are
me and Josh, because we're the only people who know who Sleepwalker is. Like him too. That's the worst part.
Okay, that's all true, but I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. The thing is, I am such a whore.
I know.
the comic book material that I will watch it even though I know it's going to be bad. If it's based on a comic, I have to see it. That's just how it goes.
See, I get all bitchy. I turn into to George Michael. I just like I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have gotten. I'm never gonna no.
Yeah, my thing is
a friend wasted chance that they'd been given. So I'm never gonna dance again with Sony Pictures.
We get the joke.
Or you can do the
there's Morbius. I know something about Morbius. In that trailer, there's a moment where you see him. He's got like prison guard order. He's trying to hide. He's walking away, and as he's walking through the alley, covering up his clothes. There's a poster of Spider-Man, and spray painted on top of it says "murderer" or a question mark, and the idea there is that they're trying to say that they do have the rights to kind of link the two things.
Okay.
It's kind of how Jameson was able to be in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Right.
And that same Jameson and the Daily Bugle do exist in these movies. Morbius, Venom, whatever. In fact, it's actually somebody in the trailer for Venom There Be Carnage is reading the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
About so straight, perfect font and everything matches. All that kind of stuff. So they're trying to make illusion. In fact, one of the last things that happens in the Morbius trailer is you see Michael Keaton as the Vulture in it, but he's like in prison clothes or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, so that got people buzzing when it came out because they're like, whoa, what the hell is this thing? But it was weird. There's like this weird tenuous thing where the idea that Tom Holland's Spider-Man and this stuff does exist, but they can only interact from Sony's perspective or something. It's a weird gimmick.
It's basically all the Marvel shows prior to WandaVision.
It's kind of
one-sided because Kevin Feige's being mean. So,
kind of.
No. I gotta do my Kevin Feige impression for you, Josh. I just, I don't feel really comfortable about. I mean, look, Daredevil's good, but I don't feel. Not right now. Later. That's my Kevin Feige impression.
Okay. I don't know how to do that.
I think it's a pretty good Kevin Feige impression. I think it's worked really well. Worked a whole 5 seconds on it.
All right. So are you good? Can I move on to the next thing?
No. Okay. All right. So
really?
No. You brought me on this rabbit hole. We're going down this rabbit hole.
No.
Okay. So I think it's fair to say, out of all those characters I listed, that we love Jackpot. No. I feel like out of all those characters are great to Eddie and Josh. Except for Jackpot. I don't think anybody gives a fuck about Jackpot. Or should give a fuck about Jackpot, but Morbius is a great character. Kraven is a great villain, who's pretty complex and has different incarnations. It's Kraven, but it's also his sons, his angry sons.
His kids, yeah.
Yeah, Silver Sable's great, Black Cat's great. Sleepwalker is one of those fun, weird, obscure, kind of horror-y Marvel characters that no one knows about, but people should know about. I remember reading old Spider-Man Nighthawk crossovers and Sleepwalker's in it because you demanded it. And it's no, I didn't. I totally didn't demand it, but I'll take it. There's nothing wrong with these characters per se. But once again, it's all this sort of we're making characters when we should really just establish them in Spider-Man first. If you're going to do this crap, though, I feel like I'm more open to a Morbius movie, a Black Cat and the Silver Sable movie, and God help me, a Sleepwalker movie, than I am to a Kraven the Hunter movie. I think Kraven the Hunter really, make him a villain in a Spider-Man movie. He's a character that he's hired to kill Spider-Man. I don't need he just make him the antagonist. I don't the problem with a lot of these villain movies is that it's okay, you're basically making the protagonist the bad guy, which if you have balls, great. I feel like I can say a lot of shit about Warner Brothers, and I have, but you know what? Joker was ballsy. Joker was very That was a risk, and it was like, and you know, I wasn't really feeling it first, but it grew on me. It was like,
that's the thing about Joker is that I didn't see Joker as a risk. Joker was an experiment.
Yeah.
If they would have lost, if we would have bombed, okay, then the experiment was bad idea.
But the experiment paid off though. It's like I feel like that was like, yeah.
No, it did, but I'm saying that it was an experiment. But the stakes for it were not nearly that high.
Yeah.
Like anything that Sony was going to do, it matters for them. They really need this. Right. They need win. They have too many losses.
Yeah.
With Warner Bros. and Joker, the thing is, from the beginning, Joker is just Joker. It's an island unto itself. It was always perceived that way from the beginning. It was never meant to be the part of this big universe.
And I had huge reservations about that movie existing in the first place. But but one of my issues with it is if you're going to do a movie from the perspective of a villain, especially like a very deranged, psychotic villain like the Joker, you need to go hard or go home. You need to be like, this is not going to be a happy story for the kids. This is not going to be something you're going to want to market to children. This is going to be like, his end goal, like, the Joker in the comics, a movie starring about him is just like, this is the time I killed several hundred people. And, you know, with giant killer clown toys, and it was funny. And it's just like, it's going to be a dark frickin' film, probably uncomfortable to watch. And the Joker more or less was. The Joker, they doubled down on the mental illness and just the abusive nature of humanity, and it's like, and again, I'm gonna say what I said before. It made me really want to watch Taxi Driver, but it's like like you gotta do that, and it's like, and my problem with a lot of these villain movies is it's like Craven's whole point is I'm hired to kill Spider-Man. Okay, so let's do a Craven movie. I go and find Spider-Man and I kill him. End movie. And now you can't make Spider-Man movies anymore. It's just like, you want me to be and why, and I'm sorry, certain villains I don't need to fucking sympathize with. Not every fucking villain needs to be goddamn Magneto, alright? Like not sometimes, like, you know, the Spider-Man villains, like Rich Evans said this in Red Letter Media. Rich Evans said this many times about the Spider-Man villains. Like X-Men, Magneto was very complex. Electro just wants to rob banks. Sandman just wants to rob banks. Spider-Man villains just want to rob banks. Let them rob banks. They don't need a fucking tragic axe backstory. If you're gonna do it and you do it right, like Vulture and Spider-Man Homecoming, fan-fucking-tastic. But I don't have a problem with just, I'm an asshole with superpowers and I want to steal your shit. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with just something a good guy can punch? You know? Okay, I bitched on this enough. Anyway, but okay, those three, I'm kind of like, I feel like, okay, you could make a movie. You could make a movie off of Morbius. Morbius has enough like gravitas to stand on his own, and is interesting enough. You could do that. Black Cat and Silver Sable, definitely, they have their own books. I feel like just Spider-Man should show up in these books, and Sleepwalker, I think Sleepwalker you could do like Blade, and nobody would know is a comic book character in the first place, and not even have any connection to Spider-Man, and if given the right director, you could be a really good horror movie. You could do a really good job with it. Because no one knows who he is except for you and me. So it's like...
not only that, but his relationship to Spider-Man is very, very tenuous.
Yeah.
Barely happened.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
A couple times, that's it.
Yeah, but hold on. That's what I'm trying to say is that I didn't know that was even on the table. Because I didn't know Sleepwalker was considered part of Spider-Man's universe.
Who told me about this motherfucker years ago told me about this? You've just forgotten.
I probably did.
Yes, we were talking movie news, and it was you. I think. Or it was horrible people on the internet used to watch. I don't know.
If it is, I think I'm starting to see the name somewhere. If they had it, that always surprised me because I never considered him a Spider-Man related character. Right. Jackpot, yes, I know who Jackpot is. I get that. Sable and Black Cat was really going to happen at one point. Well, Jackpot was very much it's just a name. There's not even a script.
Right.
What's it called? Morbius was getting more and more serious over time. It is serious. I mean, the movie's basically filmed.
Yeah.
It's just, I was curious how come I haven't seen a trailer since. Because I thought Morbius was going to be done before this one, but I guess schedules got flipped around with what you could do, when you can film, and so forth. What's it called? But Morbius and Sleepwalker, you can do without Spider-Man.
Right.
You can also tie him back in at some point, but you can tell their beginning, their origin, without any other superhero. You don't need him. And Morbius, it's funny that Morbius is tied to the Spider-Man universe because he first appeared in Spider-Man comic, and two, over the years they have brought him back into Spider-Man universe more times than not. That's kind of why he has a lot of it. Outside of Midnight Suns and stuff, he has...
Yeah. He's one of those complicated characters who's, like, he's not really... Like, he's only a villain because he's a vampire, and he, like...
Yeah.
You know, and he did something to himself that makes him crave blood, and he needs to be stopped. But it's like a guy in there who doesn't want to be doing this. It's like, you know. It
was a weird title, but he was always known as Morbius the Living Vampire.
Yes.
Because
he's not truly. He's really like, it was like bat DNA or something like that. Like maybe.
It's an experiment. It's science, which again is. That's a common theme for Spider-Man villains. It's like usually science gone wrong is what happens, and that's why you're Spider-Man. And so okay, that's Morbius. So no, there's nothing mystical. He's what I call a science vampire.
Yeah.
And
whereas Sleepwalker goes to the mystical territory. Sleepwalker's like, I'm a dream monster, and it's just like,
yeah.
Okay.
It's something like that.
Science.
But anyway, all that said, I think we're done with this.
Almost. I'm almost out. Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to say is, at this point, now that Marvel is taking more of an interactive role, Sony is more or less on board with, like, integrating this, and kind of deals are being made. And especially with all the multiverse stuff going on, I am cautiously optimistic about Venom 2. It's like, especially if they're going to take it seriously, if they really want to bring in Shriek, and they want to bring in Carnage, and they want to maybe... I don't know, John said they were going to bring in the female symbiote. They were going to bring in Scream, and it was like, I don't know.
Okay.
Your brother was very excited a couple days ago about this. It was like, you know, it was like, as long as they do it well, I'm willing to give it a chance, and if they're going to be... Even though I'm not kind of happy how we got here, like, it's like, I'll take it. It's kind of like, we were talking about Zemo and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's like, again, wasn't really feeling Zemo in Captain America Winter Soldier, but man, I love him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's like, you know, he's like, I fucked that up, didn't I? I wasn't really feeling him in Captain America Civil War, but I really liked him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And like we got there, and my brain's falling in my head. So I need to watch the trailer and give it a shot. I am cautiously optimistic about this, hopefully to be good. And I might watch the actual Venom movie at some point, and then eat crow, and your brothers be like, "See, I told you it was a good movie." And it's just like, we need to get John on here so I can stop doing jokes on his voice. And
I don't know why you keep bringing him up, honestly.
He wants in the show. He wants to talk about the movie. We just haven't had a good time to like start filming, and so.
Well, I was gonna say.
He also wants to talk about a lot of music stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. This your freaking brother, okay. See, you have your notes, and you keep them over there, so I can't see them. Your brother like sends me these text messages. Oh, we can talk about this, and we can talk about this, and talk about this. I'm like,
oh, is that what that is?
Yeah. So it's just like he wants me to listen to he wants me to listen to Gojira so I can hate it as much as he does, and I'm like, it's like metal music with whale noises, and I'm like, that might be kind of cool, but it's like, I'll take your word for it that it sucked for now. So it's like,
yeah, I've seen these text messages. It's a group. He's got us. It's a big group chat, and if I was running out of, if this was running too short, I was almost thinking about talking about this list he sent that it's a good list.
Yeah.
It's his list. It's totally not my list.
Brother Power the Geek's not on it. I'm offended.
Yeah, I read it. Anyway, but because we've rambled so much on this Venom thing, I don't think we're gonna need it.
Yeah.
Can we move on?
What?
Can we move on now?
Can we?
Okay, I'm gonna take that cue. So Star Wars, the Bad Batch.
Who are you?
Alright, actually, I would love
the Bad Batch. That's the next thing. Yeah.
Yes, Star Wars: The Bad Batch. So, I would like to talk about the show like when it's all completed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about breaking it down every episode, but
and I'm gonna Scam Likely. Fuck you, Scam Likely. Eat a dick. Go ahead.
But Star Wars: The Bad Batch is an anime series created by Dave Filoni. It is a sequel to Clone Wars, essentially. It was the Bad Batch is basically what? It's fine. It was a group of clones.
The last 3 movies that came out. Oh, sorry.
No, but it's a group of. I think I told you about this, but I can't remember. There's a group of clones that were that came out somewhat defective in certain areas.
Yeah.
They don't. I mean, their faces are very similar, but they have different body shapes and types and stuff. One of them is like a big physical brawler. Mm-hmm. Another one whose nickname is Hack is clearly the genius computer hacker, inventor, strategist kind of guy. They have a sharpshooter and crosshair. His eyesight is more enhanced than the others. That kind of there's different things to them. This was an idea. These characters were an idea that George Lucas had.
Yeah.
George Lucas was like, oh, if there was another show or something, it would be cool to have this kind of like A-team of clones that drive versus this.
I'm kind of getting Section 7 from Ghost in the Shell vibes, honestly. like Star Wars. It's like that sounds cool. It's like,
it depends. I think the concept was more like 18 because the idea is that once Order 66 happens, they're going to branch off. That was the idea. Because I mean, I think it's kind of obvious. This is not to me. I don't think this is a spoiler, but everyone should know what Order 66 is, unless you've never seen the movies. And if you did see the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon,
bring me
especially
Order 66. It's my favorite meal at McDonald's. I have chicken tenders with honey mustard sauce and a BLT. It's very, very good. Oh, yes. Good. Good.
Anyway, so
Mr. Plinkett always gets a Cinnabon. I don't know why he even gets those things. It's disgusting.
Oh. All right, ignore that.
Ignore me. Ignore me.
I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to say here. This game started good. Okay, so yes. In the final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which is the only edition that Disney Plus made, the first 4 episodes of that season are essentially a movie or backdoor pilot to the Bad Batch. It's never introduced. You get to see them interact with main characters from the cartoon like Anakin and Obi-Wan, that kind of thing. You get to see if we like them. I love those episodes. That was very good. It was great. It was great. When I watched it, I was thinking, this is a spin-off, isn't it? These characters exist so we can make toys and shows. And that was exactly what it was. But you know what? It was
Gary
good.
7 from Star Trek all over again.
But it was good.
Yeah.
It was good, though. That was
Gary
the thing.
7 was good. He had a cat that turned into a hot lady.
No, hold on. What I'm trying to... No, because you don't know where I'm going with this. I'm not talking about him. I'm ignoring your whole Gary whatever. I'm talking about... Season 7 of Clone Wars for me is kind of a mixed bag. For me, it was the season... It was the excuse Disney made to just basically relaunch the show.
Right.
They're like, oh, we have it, and everything. And like, look, this is our stamp on there.
It features those, like alien girls who are hanging out with Ahsoka, who's like killing, and she does that. She does that exact thing with her eyes in dealing with them.
Well, I was going to go into that actually. I was about because
those are the SJW characters. Gamers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, they suck. It doesn't whatever.
I
feel about that shit. It's like,
hey.
Yeah.
Hey. Let me rant, because I hate those girls.
But why do you hate them? Do you hate them because the libs are taking over Hollywood? You hate them because they suck, and they're annoying. And that's it.
No,
That's all the reason people should have a problem with it.
I have a problem with them.
Fuck Jeremy, Josh. Fuck Jeremy in the face.
Hold on. Just hold on. Let me talk, goddammit.
All right.
I hate them for both those reasons. Because the thing is, they are annoying. And they get into it, they argue a lot. They're sisters, by the way. And they're not alien, they're human. Okay? But they clearly look like someone designed them. But they clearly designed them. If you see what they look like, their character sketches or whatever, they look like they were designed off of some Disney princess show or something. Because they have modern hair and modern looking clothes. It's very vaguely reminiscent of Star Wars. Now, I don't care that much about it. Because depending on what time period...
Why can't a Carol have nice hair? I don't, why not?
Stop. It doesn't... I don't care too much about the look so much, because anytime someone has made something in Star Wars, it reflects the era in which it was made. Episode 4 looks very 70s, and then, the prequels did have a look that was similar to 2000s and so forth, the hairstyles or whatever. So that's fine.
Cartoon. Star Wars droids. Very late 70s, early 80s.
But the point I'm getting at, Ed, is that I only bring it up because I feel like the decisions to create those two characters and that story is more in line with the shit that those idiots talk about.
Yeah.
I don't agree with Jeremy and all those other guys, really, but there is something there to begin with.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
The problem is you have both sides of the argument were wrong. And in this case, you can feel like this section of the season, if Kathleen Kennedy had any hand in it, this is clearly it. That's the problem. It feels like it's a 4-part story that doesn't really need to exist. They wander around. Yeah. It's Ahsoka, someone who has earned the love of the fandom.
Right.
Who clearly looks like, oh my god, I'm dragged along on this spaceship with these two chicks who keep messing up, but because they have spunk confidence and attitude, don't really have repercussions dropped on them. Mm-hmm. And mostly because it's a freaking godsend that Ahsoka's there, because she essentially saves them from all their crap.
Yeah.
And she's not someone who's going to throw it in their faces.
Basically, like 4 episodes straight of Ralph the Fifth Ninja Turtle in a row, just dragging your Ninja Turtles '87 cartoon to a halt because they just can't get rid of Ralph and his twin brother. They just can't. And just like, look, we're trying to fight the Shredder. Will you go away? I'm a turtle. I'm going to hit you.
This is I didn't mean for this to turn this way, but because the Bad Batch, comes from this last season. That's why we're going into this. But that's the thing is, the last season is 12 episodes broken into 3, 4-part arcs. The first one's the Bad Batch.
Right.
The second one is those Gold and Ahsoka. And both of those feel like their whole purpose was to tie up some loose ends. Like in the Ahsoka case, it's where has she been. In the Bad Batch's case, it's to kind of let certain characters like Commander Rex and whatever learn about the chip that's in their brains. And that there's a conspiracy and they're not quite sure. That's kind of what it is, because we will see Rex, or we did see Rex, much older in Star Wars Rebels.
Right.
And he's part of the rebellion. It's pretty cool, actually, to have some retired clones be part of the Rebel Alliance.
Yeah.
That's like, oh yeah, that's cool. So
I finally started doing bits and pieces of this, and like I took, this is my pattern. I'm just like, I don't like it, and then 5 years later, and like the entire time, Josh and John are like, it's actually really good, Eddie. No, I don't like it. Nah, I'm not gonna eat my vegetables. And then 5 years later, hey, this is actually pretty good. Hey, Josh, this thing was good. Why did you tell me this is good? And then more of his hair falls out of his head, and he just twitches.
So. For the point I look like this.
Right. So I've been watching. I haven't been watching it religiously, but I've been watching little episodes here and there. And it's like, man, it's good. It's good. It's really, really good. It's like, I want to watch more.
So then the final 4-part story arc is absolutely amazing. again, Bad Batch, really good. Can't wait to see your show. I'm glad this show is here now. The other one, oh God, please purchase for my mom. Oh, geez. When you make that other team,
the
German side of things, look good, there's a problem. And that's the problem. And then finally, the last 4 episodes, you can play it side by side with episode 3, because that's exactly how it goes. It's Ahsoka's perspective, what she was doing when Obi-Wan and Anakin are rescuing Palpatine. What they do, they connect it either by communication or by the meaning. It's so...
Someone make a fan edit, basically.
Someone should, if they haven't already, someone should, because you can clear. I mean, I'm telling you, there are moments where you're like, okay, at this timestamp, play this, 2 separate TV or computer screens or whatever. It's so good. There's moments where they intercut some of the voices. Like, for example, for the most part, the voice actors are the same with Anakin and Obi-Wan or whatever, but there is a moment where Ahsoka is meditating, and she's connecting with the Force, and she ends up hearing the moment where Anakin ends up cutting off Mace Windu's hand, and the betrayal. You hear the original audio.
Yeah.
Oh, I never had power, and you don't see it. You can see her face reacting to it, and the John Williams score. Ooh, and I'm like, oh, this is. Yeah. And you get to see what happened. And now the thing is, when you're watching the show, because it came out after episode 3, so you already knew what was going to happen to these clones in a way. You knew, but you got to like these clones. When you get through this whole thing, and there's certain characters that you really care about who are clones, like Rex. And to see him open the thing up, execute Order 66, and then him Rex trying to resist and not shoot Ahsoka.
Okay, this sounds really, really good and dramatic, but all I can picture is Terminator 3. I am a machine! John, run!
This has been Starcutter Josh. Thank you. Good night. I'm gone. you ruined it. Now let me quickly go through this. The thing about so Bad Batch, from after those episodes in Clone Wars, this first episode dropped. It was like an hour long or something. It was really big, and it dropped on May 4th. Open with you, and it pretty much shows you what now. It's showing you the end of the Clone Wars, and it also ties in with Rebels, which again I love. But it's not a shock, because this is yet again another Filoni production.
Yeah.
Of course, he's going to tie Clone Wars with Rebels into his third child now.
Yeah.
Basically, there's a character from if you've seen Rebels, you know this character. You see this is him young. It's essentially kind of his origin of how he goes from this character to the one we meet in Rebels in the beginning part of it. And it does, yes, have to do with Order 66. And that's when it's like, because that's where the thing gets the momentum. The other clones being defective means that their chip or whatever doesn't really work. So they start to see the other guys go after Jedi, and they're like, what's going on? Why are we doing this? What order? They never got the message. Seriously, like their comms never open up or anything to say order. Everyone else's, except for one person. So there's one member of their group that unfortunately his chip or whatever does still work enough. Yeah. So his attitude's supposed to slightly change. He has this urge to just start shooting a Jedi.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And the leader is like, what's going on here? Trying to figure out. So they end up separating and stuff. It's like they go back to Camino to figure out what's going on. And it's really cool. You get to see the transitioning.
Yeah. How
the message is, we won the war. We are now a galactic empire. Then they go to Camino, and the troops all lined up. There's a scene where they show you got Palpatine, but they pumped in the audio saying, new galactic empire, and all that stuff, and it's like, okay, cool. Tarkin is in this episode, where he's there to see whether they matter, because he doesn't agree with with Palpatine. He never. First of all, he never liked the clones. He actually was in Clone Wars in the last 2 seasons with brown hair, and
young Tarkin.
Yeah, he never. Yeah, young Tarkin. He was always
Idrib Tarkin in Revenge of the Sith. Scorpius from Farscape.
Yes, that's true. But anyway, this Tarkin, he's never approved the clones really, and he's there to see them basically get decommissioned or try to kind of phase them out. For anyone who for some reason never realized that the stormtroopers and clone troopers are not the same thing, this was like the 100% like, yes, they decommissioned them and got conscripted people. I was like, I don't know why no one ever put that together though. There's so many people
Some
who...
people are all like, stormtroopers clones. It's like, no. Luke's not a fucking clone. Luke wanted to go to the academy. Join the Empire.
Not only that though. Okay, look.
Han was part of the Empire, both in both continuities.
Han signed up. I mean, and I actually that exists in the new canon too. But Han signed up even in the old one. There's no way they would sign people up if they were clones.
Right.
So why would they add one dude into an entire military faction of like millions of clones?
Yeah.
No, clearly there's other people from all over.
Right.
Now what I don't hear people talk about though is that the clones are all human.
Right.
And at some point, yes, they do conscript. They do just grab babies and stuff and raise them into the system. Technically, the Jedi did that too, but it's a whole other story. So the thing here is that it's like, okay, notice that of all the
Ryan Johnson was hashtag Ryan. I can't finish this. I can't. I can't let these garbage words come out of my mouth.
The point is, what was I going to say? God, I had it, and then I lost the darn thing. Clones.
Bad Batch. Show.
Yes, I don't talk about the Bad Batch.
Should I watch it?
Yes. I still think you need to watch Clone Wars.
Yes.
Okay. Saying that this is like really a direct sequel. Honest. I mean, it really is like if you the way I felt like it is especially because it's on Disney Plus. It was almost like, oh, watch the first 4 episodes of season 7 of Clone Wars, then go into the show because where the Bad Batch ends, those 4 parts, it picks up pretty much immediately because they're still it's still the tail end of the Clone Wars itself. We get to see the war end, but then we also get to see how wrong things are from their perspective and how they we don't want to do this and we got to figure out how to get out of here. They pretty much go on the run and everything. And so this concept, like I said, was Lucas's idea. But again, thank you, Filoni, because not only did Filoni hear that idea and thought, ooh, there's potential in this, but if not for Dave Filoni, this will not exist at all, because no one's taking Lucas's advice unless your name is Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau.
Right.
They're the only two that kind of insist on having him along as a consultant. Now, granted, that does mean that they are not obligated to take his advice.
Right.
Anything he says, they don't have to. There's no legal. It's more like
because they respect him.
Yeah, they either will take it all the way, or they'll adjust it. They're like, that's a good idea, but what about this?
And even the starkest Lucas critic, which I feel like I've been there before. I feel like Lucas is a person that like issues that cropped up with him was when he had complete creative control and he didn't have enough people kind of challenging him or telling him no. And so he's kind of in his perfect element here because it's like he's still always been a great idea man, but you also have more people in the room that can kind of make his ideas better, or vice versa. It's just you got really, I think it's you got 2 people that really respect and admire him and that are very talented creators in their own right. You got him who created the series, and I mean even the dumbest thing that has his name on it I think it's still creative enjoyable. It's like you and I like to talk about strange magic. Listen, Josh, you and I both seen this movie.
Yes.
Say what you will about strange magic. It's creative. It's very creative. So it may be look, it's dumb, but it's creative. It's like you bet against Lucas, you're gonna lose. It's like I feel like that's the way it is. It's like he's the master for a reason. So
no, but yeah, in short, you really should check out the show.
I'm no longer Eddie. I am Kevin Smith, and allow me to spend the next 30 minutes sucking George Lucas's dick. Let me tell you how awesome George Lucas is.
Okay, stop.
So, Josh, you're not black. You're not my. Kevin Smith,
I don't know how many people...
we want to steal your show.
We can't steal the show. I'll be on the show. That'd be great.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Oh, dude, listen. Okay, I still argue that Kevin can't review a movie to save his life, but I'll fucking talk with Movie Sim all day long. Hell yeah. It's just like...
Yeah.
I still haven't finished that Justice League review of his. Alright, so the movie starts off like this. It's like, alright, I'm stop you right there. Stop you right there, Kevin. You're telling me the movie. No.
Well, I mean, that's essentially what I've been doing, too. Again, it's very early, so not much has happened. They're effectively on the run, and that's pretty much the show. What I was going to say is that it's essentially meant to be like the Star Wars is equivalent to the A-Team.
Right.
And with that in mind, I'm looking at this going, yeah, they're pretty much ex-military on the run, except there wasn't a crime they didn't commit. It was more like, oh, you're not following the program. You have to go. So, but yeah, no, it's really cool. Oh, and they introduced us in the show. So I don't know, one of the Kaminoans, they have a clone, but this clone is aged to a child, kind of like how Boba Fett was like it took a long time. It doesn't accelerate.
Boba Fett was not artificially aged to adulthood quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So this one, yeah, this one I don't think the aging was accelerated on this clone. But on top of that, this clone is a female.
Okay.
So there's actually basically, if Django was a chick, this is what it would look like. But with different hair.
Django 23.
I really hope they do that to this character, because right now she was basically like the assistant or helper or whatever to this one Kaminoan, and I think the Kaminoan liked her almost like a daughter.
Yeah.
So really was offended when Tarkin was like, "Oh, we got to kill this kid."
Yeah.
But she essentially doesn't really belong. She also is not, a brainwashed puppet like the rest. Because at this point, all the clones that have the thing in them are like Empire, and all that jazz. And so she effectively joined the group. That affects, and that's what it is. But I don't want to say much more. Even though I gave that away, it's really good. It's worth watching. And then today, because I'm an idiot, I was like searching the internet, and I bumped into some dumb site that has raised my awareness now of a controversy about Bad Batch and its cast. And this controversy is apparently...
Do tell, Josh. I know nothing of this. I am the person who did not do his homework for today. It's like, what are we talking about? What? Venom 2? Alright!
This controversy is that apparently there's a group of people, I don't know how big a group is, but it's a group of people who want to un-whitewash the Bad Batch. I'm not kidding. Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, just bear with me for 2 seconds. Okay?
Okay.
I need you to keep in mind a few things.
Okay.
The clones.
Right.
all cloned after Jango Fett. Jango Fett was played by an actor who I want to say he's...
I want to say he's a Kiwi.
Yeah, he's New Zealander.
He's New Zealander.
But he has like Aborigine or Maori or something in him.
Okay.
Okay. And all the clones in the cartoon are, you know, brown skinned, just like him. Have the same, you know, complexion. Mm-hmm. There is some differences to the clones because it was the way the show was trying to say, oh, this one is talking now, and then that one's talking, because they all look identical. So of course the clones wanted in the story they already made it
this high concept idea.
Yeah, the clones all had these individual things where they would shave their head a certain way or get tattoos, blah 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 blah, whatever. The Bad Batch is no exception, especially because they do have visual distinctions. One's skinnier than the other, one's more muscular, one looks like Rambo, he even has the Rambo headband kind of thing on. I love him. Oh, he has a face tattoo too. I forgot about that. But the point is,
one's a pirate, one's a firefighter, one's a police officer.
These people are claiming that they made them lighter in skin than the other clone.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's a crayon shade. Okay. There is one character, one of the clones who's pale because he was under experimentation. He's a character that existed. His name is Echo.
Okay.
And he existed, I think maybe as far back as either season 1 or season 2 of the Clone Wars. And he was like a perfect clone. Until somewhere in the storyline, they pulled a Bucky Barnes with him. Basically, there was like an explosion separation, and they thought that Echo died, but they never found the body. Years later, we go into season 7, we find him. That the Separatists have used him, but they hooked him up these wires, and they use his brain so they can make the
rusted
battle drone
freight car.
They were making the battle droids smarter so that they could actually fight like the clone troopers.
Yeah.
And when they got to him, he had
clone.
When they got to him, he's got all these like nodes, like almost like a Borg drone, and he's just as pale as a Borg drone. In fact, he's got like a robot arm now, but it doesn't have fingers. It's like that thing that R2-D2 would put into like the wall to like hack into shit with a screwdriver.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yeah, he has that kind of arm, and everything, and so he's the only one that they whitened up, but it's like because of the experiment.
This is a nonsense bullshit movement that we shouldn't be paying attention to at all because it's garbage, and it will just fuel Jeremy.
Oh no, it does. That's the problem. It would fuel him. I'm sure it's doing it right. I'm sure he's gorging on this. That's the problem. Because this is stupid.
These SJWs. Oh, he's not dark enough. Jeremy does this fucking thing. Okay, so no. I have to bitch about Jeremy for a minute. This fucking faggot likes to like do this whiny little voice for anyone he doesn't like, which shows how much small of a dick he has, because he thinks that makes him win an argument. It's just like when you can't actually beat a person in an actual argument, just make them do just a whiny voice. All liberals have a whiny voice. Okay, eat a fucking dick, Jeremy. Eat a fucking dick, old boy. Fucking drown in it. Go ahead, Josh.
Everyone does that. I did this in this video. So
but you shouldn't. You can actually. Here's a better idea: is actually have a point. Actually have a point and actually make that point and beat them without resorting to name calling. It's called being an adult, and it's called not being a little fucking bitch. Because that's what Jeremy is. Continue, sir.
But you're name calling right now.
I'm only doing it because he did it first. So.
Okay. Anyway, let me get to my point.
Go ahead.
Okay.
All right.
My point is, because that's not all the argument. Unfortunately, the other part of the argument is that the clones are all voiced by a white man, right? And now, let me get his name right. D. Bradley Baker is very talented.
Yeah.
He's voiced many things from different shows, and
he was on Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
We don't need to go there. But the point is, because his list is long. He's a veteran voice actor.
Is he the wait a minute? Is he the actor who does Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents?
Is he?
I don't know. I'm gonna look him up.
No, I don't. Never.
Hold on.
But
I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, sir.
But D. Bradley Baker.
I'm on a mission.
But D. Bradley Baker is very famous, and he's even good with animals because he's the voice of Appa and Momo and Avatar: Last Airbender. The point is, he was the voice of the clones the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
He's the voice of the clones.
Okay. So I'm looking at him right now. D. Bradley Baker, I believe, was fuck, what's his name? He was the Nosferatu guy you meet in Santa Monica in Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines. He was God, I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah.
It's gonna drive me crazy.
I saw that though.
I'm getting to the bottom of this.
But the point is, he had voiced the clones throughout the entire show. He voiced them even in Rebels and so forth. And it's just like, the reason for that was because it's cheaper to get a veteran voice actor than it is to go get Tamara Morrison, I think that's his name, to voice them. And I don't know, it's just really silly. I mean, granted, it's him putting on an accent and everything, but it's like, this is retarded. They're just looking for things to excuse.
So again, this is we're just complaining about we're just complaining for the sake of complaining, and making liberals look bad. And so some asshole on Twitter has nothing fucking better to do. So we're gonna complain about D. Bradley Baker, and we're gonna claim that oh, you're whitewashing. Let's create a non-issue so the Republicans can overreact, and somehow this is all Joe Biden's fault.
Of course.
So this is a giant waste of time, and all these people on both sides need to go fuck themselves.
It's everyone's fault, and it's really funny.
Not my fault. I didn't do this. I don't care. It's not. No, you don't care. Yeah, no. No. Fuck those guys. Fuck Jeremy. Fuck people on Twitter.
Ed, you just ruined your own sarcasm.
What? Well, how? What did I do?
Because you said, it's everywhere.
Hold on.
It's Biden's fault. It's not Biden's fault, obviously. That was your sarcasm. So it's
that's the point. That's what they're going to fucking say, you know.
It's no one's fault, but here's the thing. What I was trying to say is, so that's apparently the controversy, the fact that it's not the lead characters, the team is not diverse enough. And I'm like, who cares?
Right.
Like, it's funny because I don't even, in a way, when I first saw these characters, I didn't even think there was going to be a kid in this, let alone a girl. And part of me now sees it going, of course there's a little kid. I'm sure it's a suggestion from Lucas. It's kids. Let's have a kid there. All right. But the cool thing about and
keep talking.
And by making her it kind of plays on the fact that these are clones and all, but these are all very different and very special clones as opposed to being uniform the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I also like the fact that there's going to be you can tell there's going to be more to this story though. We just got started. This is the initial premise, and it's not going to be like a done-in-one series. This is going to be hopefully get season 2 and 3 and so forth. We're going to play this show for quite some time. Who knows where they're going to take these characters and what other people are introducing. I do know, I haven't seen it, but I do know one of the characters in the show, when they find her, is Fennec.
Wait, who?
Fennec.
Who's Fennec?
From, she was in The Mandalorian. She's going to be in the Book of Boba Fett. It's Nina Ray.
The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. girl?
It's Mulan, goddammit.
Yeah.
or yes, Melinda May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yes.
Nice. Okay. I like her.
She's going to be in this series. We're going to see a younger version of her. She's still voicing the character, though. That's the thing, too, because the beauty of this now, we can, especially with shows like this where they're kind of jumping around the timeline, you can kind of show sort of, what am I talking about? There's another character in this who first appeared in Clone Wars and later ended up being in the movies. And that's Saga.
Bertram Tongue was D. Bradley Baker's character in Bloodlines. It's Bertram. Bertram Tongue. That was the Nosferatu that Therese was fooling around with. I finally got it. That's D. Bradley Baker's character. Oh, God, that was driving me crazy for the past 5 minutes. Oh, and my fucking phone, like, I went to the fucking Vampire the Masquerade wiki, it keeps on shooting up these stupid... Hey, let me advertise this shit to you right now. Like, fuck you! I just want to remember who Bertram Tongue is! Sorry.
You couldn't for 2 seconds. You waited me to just say the name of the character. They had to cut me off with this nonsense. But I really don't think anybody, especially me, was waiting for it.
Bertram Tongue is the greatest character in the entire game. He's awesome. He's the sarcastic Nosferatu that just wants love. And he met a Malkavian girl that appreciates him, sort of, kind of, when she's not trying to kill him.
Anyway, that's ignoring the fact that you interrupted me.
Okay, so basically, back to the controversy. So basically, it's the typical horrible, toxic identity politics / crazy liberal politics / crazy conservative politics that we've been seeing from Star Wars for the past 4 years now because life's not fair. That we should just better ignore because who gives a fuck? It's like they didn't do anything wrong. It's a bunch of assholes on Twitter, and don't listen to Jeremy getting too upset about it because he's a fuckface too. And what's the actress's name from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Because I just know her as like Assassin Lady from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I love her. She's great, but I don't know her name, and I feel bad about this. And I just spent 5 minutes looking up an obscure character from Bloodlines, so please, before I go insane.
The actress's name is May Ray.
May Ray? What?
May
Ren.
When?
May Ren. Okay, alright, cool, alright. I like her. I liked her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked her in Mandalorian. And what's her character's name again in Mandalorian?
The Mandalorian is Fennec.
Fennec the Assassin. Fennec. Okay, alright, so, okay.
Yeah, she's a assassin, banker, or something like that. I forget. But, the point is, what I like about it is that you will see these characters that appeared in The Mandalorian, or characters that appeared in the Clone Wars, characters that appeared in Rebels, or Rogue One, or whatever. They're all stuff like this going to pop up. And that's when you jumped on top of me. I've just remembered now that I believe it was in the first episode, we get to see Saw Gerrera, which, and you're giving me that look. He's Forrest Whitaker's character from Star Wars Rogue One.
Oh, no wonder I didn't remember what his name was. Okay. That character is just Forrest Whitaker as a cyborg to me.
Well, here's the thing.
Hello, Jen. How are you?
That character actually existed in Clone Wars first.
Oh, okay.
Way before the purchase by Disney.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But in Clone Wars, he's a much younger man.
Okay.
Okay. I think he's in his like late teens, early 20 or something, and he actually interacts with like Ahsoka and Anakin and such. And we see early on, because of the loss of a loved one, how he becomes bitter and enraged, and he's much more of an aggressive freedom fighter.
So breeding Imperial shuttlecraft workers to Cthulhu monsters to suck their brains out.
And so
it's a completely normal reaction. I feel.
And so
that's a good movie. I love Rogue One.
He's served with the Republic. The Republic helped to free his planet. Mm-hmm. But then what's it called? 66. Order 66 happens.
Order 66.
When that happens, in the show, they kill the Jedi, of course, and then they start to round up anybody. Because it was like a tornado of people. So anyone they called like this is sort of they round them up and put them in like shanty towns and stuff.
Yeah.
So the clones, essentially the Republic, now that the Empire has mistreating them now. Because they're like, you're just a bunch of whatever, we don't need you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And And so you can see right here again the seeds of what he's going to become, because he does create and join the rebel. So he's the more radical minded of them, though, because he's like, I kill them all, men, women, children. If you're empire, you got to go.
Feed them to Cthulhu monsters. Have them suck the brains out.
Now, the character appears again in Rebels, but in Rebels, I think he's voiced by Forrest Whitaker, and he looks closer and closer to how he is in Rogue One.
I want a Star Wars Battlefield Earth crossover with his character from Battlefield Earth in it. Just walking around, let's walk around drinking a soda, like, no.
I'm trying to figure out what
friendly bartender!
See, that's what I was like, what is he referencing? He keeps going on. I mean, if you're gonna make the
Battlefield Earth, the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah, he was. I forgot about that. I forgot about that because I started thinking of his role in the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Where he's like.
Oh, do you just block out bad movies and think of good movies, Josh? Is that what it is?
I do, but I also think of bad accents because his accent in Black Panther was bad, and it's cool. I love that because my accents are bad, and so. But it's great. Come, you must drink this to have the spirit of the Black Panther. It's like there's no African accent. This is bleak. It's Black Panther. To the point that even Trevor Noah was joking on him with that one. He's like, "Come on, man. I'm African. There's no African dialect." In fact, I think Trevor speaks like either 3 or 4 African languages, and he's like, "Not one of them is bleak." What's the bleak factor?
Not one African dialect. Josh, you and I laughed, but if for whatever reason we were in Black Panther, asked to play a black role in full blackface, we would do the same shit. And we wouldn't have the common sense to back out of it. We'd fucking do it. It was like, dude, I've been a Black Panther movie.
No, I wouldn't have done it. God, no.
Well, I would.
I way too much. You're stupid.
I would have gone full Ted Danson.
I'm done with the Star Wars thing. Yeah, watch it and first it's coming out week to week. Yeah. You know?
So recommendation, Star Wars, The Bad Batch, definitely recommendation. Starkill, definitely recommendation to Eddie over here, and also, hey Eddie, get off your ass and finish Clone Wars and Rebels and other good Star Wars things. And it's like, okay, I'll get to it. Gotta watch the boys first, but yeah.
It's funny, if you had TV, there's actually they've been marathoning Star Wars Rebels on Disney XD all month as of May.
Yeah.
So, the last thing I'll talk about is a spoiler-free. A few quick notes on what I thought about Invincible Season 1 on Amazon Prime.
And I think we are both familiar with it. You know more about Invincible than I do. Invincible is an excellent comic book about a young teenage superhero. Features the great characters like Alan the Alien. And has, like, for my money, one of the best... Why does my phone keep falling down? Fuck off, phone! Phone, you sit in timeout now.
Alright.
No, well, I feel like we were reading Invincible together. You were reading it pretty hardcore, and then you were getting me into it. And it has, like, it's like a really good, fun superhero book, very lighthearted at first, and then it has, like, the most, like, fucked up twist ever. Like, once you realize who Invincible's dad is and what his real plan is, and it's like, oh my god. And, like, his people are like the Saiyans, but worse. It's like...
Wow! Okay.
It's like this. Oh, please! It makes me beg for King Vegeta, please, just annihilate us.
Okay.
Just annihilate us and give our planet to Frieza. It'd be better than what these guys are gonna do.
Stop.
Yeah. And you told me about it last week, and I got really excited. Ooh, Invincible's gonna be a show. It's like I'm down. I'm down for that. I want to see Alan the Alien as a character. I think I'm pretty excited about that. So, tell me about it without spoiling it for me, because it's also on my list.
Okay, well, that's the thing is I'm not really sure what. Okay, Okay, so the thing I want to avoid is stuff to do with Omni-Man, Invincible's father.
Right.
For those who've seen the show, they know. For those who read the comic, they know. I didn't really want to reveal too much about where his origins are because it is a big part of not just the comic, but also especially this first season.
Mm-hmm.
So the season is 8 episodes long, and it came out like every Friday when it first dropped. I waited until it just like completed, and I was like, okay, I binge watched it in a day. It's just fantastic. The episodes weren't even that long; they were 30 minutes pop or so.
Yeah.
I think there was like some wiggle room to stretch it out, depending on when they needed to. But I will say, for those who don't know, Invincible is the story of Mark Grayson, who, yes, is the son of Omni-Man, one of the greatest superhero in their world.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's a Superman type person, flying, super strength, vulnerability, the whole thing. He's an alien. And Mark, when he turns 17, discovers that he actually does have the powers. He was given this speech by his father that, okay, one day soon will be, you need to know where you come from, and don't be scared when this happens. And he gave him a pitch about his world and how they got their shit together and became this peacekeeping place or whatever, and want to spread their whatever across the universe, and that's why he's on Earth, and how he met his mom and all that stuff. Invincible, the show and the comic, but the show is, what I like to think of it is, it's kind of like, what if we take part Spider-Man and part Superboy and just merge it into a person.
Yeah.
That's what Invincible is to me.
We did that. It's called Spider-Boy from Amaglam, way back in DC versus Marvel.
Amalgam. But yes. But it really, Robert Kirkman, the creator of the comic show and also the creator of The Walking Dead,
right.
the comic, he loves his twists, and he loves to kind of shock his audience into like, hey, pay attention, stay focused. The things that happen in the book are shocking, but it's not just for shock value. It's meant to show you, like, this is what would really happen if these characters kind of fought. So if things get out of hand with collateral damage, destruction, or the violence to people's limbs, and it's like, it's hardcore. But the comic was always kind of hardcore. Like, it's funny because not every situation called for it, though.
Right.
It wasn't Man of Steel where it was just like smash through everything. It was like, it depends on the villain and the opponent, and of course Mark is being invincible. He's trying to learn how to be a hero, so he's making a lot of mistakes along the way, and hopefully he'll fix it before it's too bad or whatever. It's not until certain arcs in the story, which are sprinkled out really well in the comic, that shit gets real.
Right.
And
it really kind of like the way I remember it, it really kind of just felt like more kind of like a tame, teen-friendly manga or teen-friendly like book, like Spider-Man or something like that. And then it kind of it suddenly like kind of ups the ante and gets really dark. It like turns into Berserk at a certain point, like in terms of like the level of darkness. And it's like, and
because
it's for a reason. It's part of the story. It's pointed. It's not screwed up for the sake of being screwed up or effed up. It's for a very specific purpose, and to show you the level of the threat and what's been really going on.
To me, it's like, I don't know. When I first read it, I thought to me it felt like Robert Kirkman's love letter to superhero comics. But what if first off, they'd be written for someone my age.
Right.
That's what and whatever age he was at when he wrote them, there was that. It was like, it's not for kids, it's for people who've grown up with comics.
Right.
And so there is a sense of realism with a lot of the fantastical craziness that goes in typical superhero universes.
Right.
So there are characters that they kind of remind you of characters. There's a lot of original ones. Like, there's a character that looks like the Rhino in a way, or the character reminds you of Electro as a villain. But heck, Omni-Man it seems like Superman. There's a team called the Guardians of the Globe. That's basically the Justice League in this. And so there's things like that, but that's like, okay, but because I have the freedom to do whatever I want with these characters, like The Walking Dead, if I choose to disarm them or kill them or revive them or whatever, I can do what I want.
Right.
And tie this big old universe to whatever. Essentially he was like, I really, really want to have a superhero universe that exists in the Image comic universe.
Right.
And that's essentially what he did.
Yeah.
Now the show.
Now, I believe
this season,
our friend from the comic store and actually the writer of Realm Quest, Scott, has commented. Like, I remember, like, I was in the comic store one day just talking to him, and he was like, one of his comments was basically just like Image comic needs a shared universe. It was like, I remember way back in the day, it's like they tried and then that just fell apart. Oh yeah, Spawn and Gen 13 and Wildcat and Youngblood, they're all in Witchblade, they're all in the same world, and then that just kind of fell apart, and just like Spawn did its own thing, and Top Cow did its own thing, and Wildstorm got bought by freaking like DC, and Rob Liefeld went and fucked off, and it's just like they don't really have a shared universe. It's like they had a shared universe, and then they just didn't anymore.
They had a shared universe in the beginning when they were friends. And then after a couple of months of trying to get these comic books on time and the many delays, arguments started happening, because it was affecting the business. And they stopped being friends.
Sorry.
He was the loudest. He was the loudest one. He wasn't the only one. But the point is, there was a lot of that kind of stuff that happened, and as a result, they kind of went their separate ways.
You remember when Spawn was killed by Chapel from Youngblood? Those were good times.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
that was part of it. And so, what's it called? So when Kirkman, when Kirkman joined Image to just publish his own thing, he was like, he was wondering if it was okay. And being that it was Image, it wasn't Todd McFarlane's Image, it wasn't Top Cow, it was just Image Central, which was run by Savage Dragon creator Eric Larson. Eric was like, yeah, sure. And same thing with so what happens is that you would, in the comic, not the show, but in the comic, you will see Savage Dragon and Shadowhawk appear, and any superhero is still part of like Image Central. That's the Image thing, and then he adds more as he goes along.
So Savage Dragon is in this, and yeah, I want to say like Scott had told me also one time that they wanted to cross over Invincible and Realm Quest, and he's like, that doesn't make any sense. Realm Quest in a fantasy world. Why am I crossing over with Invincible? So
yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, but
I was like, I would read that, but it's like, okay.
I'm sure, but I'm just saying.
I know it's just like turning into Invincible.
But his reasoning for that was because first off, he was trying to get his book off the ground,
right?
And you don't want to instantly start thinking of, oh, what if my creation crosses over with that one? It's like you don't have a full identity yet,
right?
You know. That once you get an identity, it's established. Yeah, it can happen years on the line.
Yeah.
The show, this show has been a big buzz. There are changes from the comic. The ones I noticed the most are like the order in which things go on.
Okay.
There is, if you're like a purist, you'll hate this. Yeah. Because they're moving stuff, but it's like you got to think about the medium, and you got to think about it's a show that has actors,
right?
Voice actors, but actors are actors, and that means you need to give them a steady paycheck.
Yes.
So, for example, Invincible's mom, Debbie. Okay, she's very important, but she also doesn't appear in every issue, and she doesn't always talk in every issue.
Right.
But being that she's one of the main cast members, because like I said, the character does matter. She's important.
Right.
Well, if you're true to the comic, you'll barely use as actors.
Yeah.
But if, or at least not as frequently, and you need to use her every episode. Mm-hmm. So they give her more to do, and that's something that's a big change I love, where they have a whole story arc with her that she matters more to it, and it ties to things with Mark and Animan.
Yeah.
So she has a much more developed role. I heard some people kind of gripe about it to some degree because it is different, but I personally like it.
Josh, nothing is worse than Monica from Yellowstone. Nothing is worse than really, you wouldn't kill the race again.
Well, first off, if you saw the show, you wouldn't see any problem with her.
Well, like, okay? you know, I'm a giant fan of Cobra Kai, and I was thinking about this, actually, of how, like, the character of Amanda LaRusso, you know, they had made her for the show. Like, she's just Daniel's wife now, and she's probably one of the most interesting characters in the entire show. But she's entirely created for that, and it's just like, you know, this never heard of before in Karate Kid. Yeah, this is just who, you know, Daniel happened to shadow and fall in love with, and she's a three-dimensional saleswoman, awesome, and, you know, she's really cool. It's like, it's kind of, it's a good opportunity for things like that, where you just, like, you have to expand a role and things like that.
In the case of Dev, it's not a brand new character, it's just fleshing out a character who was already there, and giving her something to do, because, like I said, if you're part of the main cast, you've got to do something with people. If they made her a recurring character, it would have been different. But they're like, no, let's just go with that.
You know,
so one of the changes
that also reminds me of is Millie and Meryl from Millie and Meryl from Trigun. Like, in the manga, they were more just kind of like Vash's sidekicks, where they got a lot more development in the anime. In the anime, we really have to flesh them out and, like, got to know them a little more personally. And they're more three-dimensional in the anime. Yeah.
In another character that has sparked whatever, I guess, I don't know if it's controversy or what, is I don't think it's a huge spoiler to mention that Invincible has a girlfriend at some point in the show, and that because this is later a major character. Her name is Amber. She is. Yeah, I just want to talk about this briefly because Amber in the comic is girlfriend. She's just nice, cute girlfriend.
I am girlfriend. I is girlfriend. I do girlfriend things.
Yeah. she doesn't have much of a personality. It's kind of like it reminds me of almost to like what. I was gonna say Mary. No, I was gonna say Mary Jane from the Sam Raimi movies. It's very much like that.
All right.
And since the comic was written at the same time those movies were coming out, yeah, she was very much Mary Jane. Like, hey, I'm cool, but
and the
I'm in the best school.
Disapprove of that, as we can hear outside.
So, what happens is, so to give this character more depth, more personality, give her an attitude that's like really puts Mark in his place when he disappears and has shitty reasons for why he's doing whatever. Because he, you know, if you didn't tell her right away who he is, it's a superhero thing.
Right.
So he lies really, really bad. And she, you know, he starts off in a huff, but in this one, she's really giving it to him. She's like, dude, you can't I can't do this with you. And, so a lot of, apparently, there's also a thing where people don't like her attitude, or how she is in the show. I haven't read or heard anywhere that it has anything to do with the fact that they changed the character's race. I really hope it's not that too, because I'm tired of that story. In the show, she's also voiced by the same actress who played Domino from Deadpool 2. I can't remember her name.
Cool.
I knew her name was like
I don't know the actress's name, but I liked her in Deadpool 2. Like, she's in Deadpool 2, she's one of the things I had notes on. It was like, she's a little... My issue with her in Deadpool 2 is she was way too... I felt like, this is a thing I've noticed with, like, the character of Domino in comics, is, like, at a certain point, we just started turning Domino into the female Deadpool, and it's just like, she's really not. She's really more like Sarah Connor from, like, Terminator. She's more like hardened mercenary lady who used to date Cable. It's like
well, she smiles though. I mean, she has look. She's more badass, but I wouldn't say hardened exactly because she in past X-Force days she's very like a mercenary.
right.
So she does have sarcasm and that wit and that kind of thing, but she's not Deadpool.
Right.
You know?
She's a little more serious, and it's like again, Deadpool's like whole goofiness is really the fact. It's just we're making light of mental illness again. It's like because and no joke, that's the thing. It's like Deadpool. Like people don't realize, especially if you go into like the original line, is like Deadpool bounces back from oh god this is funny and ridiculous to oh fuck he keeps an old woman trapped in his house, and when she got away and like met her boyfriend, he killed her. He killed the boyfriend. And like walled up a pizza man inside the walls. Like he like Deadpool did some like people don't realize like Deadpool bounces back from like seriously crazy and violent. And it's like there's more going on. The character softened in many years, but it's like and I felt like in Deadpool 2 they made her like way too happy and just kind of I'm a female you, and it's like she looked like she was having fun, and I thought she looked great, and it was I think her using the luck powers was really cool, and she definitely could run around and shoot things. I thought she was a lot of fun, but I felt she was a little too. They kind of made her just like a little too happy, a little too like I could have used a little bit more seriousness from her. In Deadpool 2, I don't know what I'm asking for at this point.
Well,
right. This is the movie that had Cable go back in time, not to stop Apocalypse, not to stop Mr. Sinister, not to stop some bullshit monster that Rob Liefeld created one day. No. He came back in time to stop Rusty fucking Collins. That's right.
Yep.
I am remiss. Never mind. Clearly, this is Citizen Kane. Let's move on.
Anyway, I just love that whoever wrote Deadpool 2 was really a fan of Rusty Collins.
Why?
We're gonna make this character important in some future that we'll never see, of course. So
the money is clearly in Juggernaut. The money clearly was in Juggernaut, or the mishandling of other beloved comic book characters like Black Tom Cassidy and Shatterstar. Let's kill Shatterstar as a joke. Let's kill Black Tom Cassidy as a joke.
That's right. He was becoming really early in the I was like,
shot him in the head. It is like Black Tom's a good character in the books. He goes to a tree. I don't know what I'm saying.
There's so much whatever. Anyway, I like the movie, but at the same time, I was like, you know what?
It's the last good X-Men movie. It's basically it was literally the last good X-Men movie.
When it was by the time it came out, it was more like, oh, just let this die so the MCU can have the X-Men. So I was like, you know what? I don't care what Deadpool does.
You know what?
Let him do it.
You know what? Theory. I know you love Matt Pat so much, Josh, because you're gay, and you like Matt Pat because you're weird. But I bet you the reason X-Men really gets entered into the multiverse in MCU is because of what Deadpool did at the end of Deadpool 2. He starts running around trying to fix the timeline, and it fucks things up, and he winds up thumping into the MCU. And the thing that did it was actually going back in time and killing Ryan Reynolds before he signed on to Green Lantern. That's what did it. Everything was fine. Mm-hmm. Timeline was fine, and then he not only fucked up killing Ryan Reynolds, fucked up the X-Men universe, and is the reason why the movies got worse, and it also caused them to bleed into Marvel. Prediction. Make it happen, Kevin Feige. So,
alright. What else can I say about Invincible? So yeah, there's that. Apparently there's some, like I said, there's some controversy about her attitude and whatever, and I totally disagree with it. You watch the show, you'll find out what I'm talking about. Because for me, I thought they did a really good job of a character that was pretty much a 0 on my scale of 1 to 10. She was nice. That was it.
I have to watch this to assess it because it's but it kind of sounds like maybe the reaction is kind of like I brought up Yellowstone, like Monica from Yellowstone. It's but also another example would probably be Skylar from Breaking Bad. It's just You are complaining about our hero. You are complaining about a hero doing things we want the hero to do. Our hero wants to go do fun adventure things, and you are bitching. Go away, annoying, shrill bitch. Why can't you be Wonder Woman? Why can't you be Elektra? Why can't you just have sex on a rooftop like Frank Miller wants and go on a rooftop? It's like, why can't you do these things? It's like, you know, let the movie do its thing. Let the show take its time, and we'll see.
I like the fact that first of all, there needs to be changes, there needs to be updates. The comic was very much contemporary for when it was being published. It was very 2003. And so now it's very much, 2021. And that's fine. I have no problem with this update. It kind of reminds me of Spider-Man again, where Spider-Man, the story could be universal. It depends on what time period you put it in. And if you put it in a different time period, you change things just a bit, cosmetically. Like they did with Sam Raimi or Mark Webber, any of them. The point is, it's now. It's not the 60s. Okay? And I don't know anyone who's losing sleep about the fact that he didn't look like he did in the 60s. I mean, who cares? And so that kind of stuff is done in the show. Those kind of changes to make things more relevant to today. But also still have the humor from the comic, still have the great pacing of action. Oh, the animation is so good in this.
You gotta be thinking about it was made in 2003. You go ahead. Yeah, I have a thought. I'll share it later.
But I'm not just sharing it with you. I'm sharing it with a lot of people here. If anyone watches this or listens, it's definitely not. I don't care how beautiful it looks. If you see a still of it, you'll be like, "Oh, this looks great," and clearly it's a cartoon. No, it's not for kids. This show is not for little kids whatsoever. Goddamn ever. Don't even think about it.
Think anime. Think the most violent Fist of the North Star, shit, Elfin lead, Bible Black, maybe not Bible Black. Elfin lead, violent, fucked up anime ever. It's not for kids. Not for kids.
No, hold on, because that's not the whole. No, I mean
Berserk.
When it gets to a point, when it gets to a point, the show's violence, the gore is hardcore. That's all I want to say there. But it's not like every single episode is just. I mean,
that almost makes it worse because it's gonna be more of a shock to the kids when they actually watch it. So, although
it's a shock. The gore would be a shock to the kids, but also there's a lot of adult language and sexual situations and all that kind of stuff. So it's. I mean, there's a warning already to tell you what age you should be watching this.
Right. I feel like I'm a bit of a hypocrite complaining about this, but I feel like because I always especially hanging out with your brother and his daughters, and constant watching of Paw Patrol and hearing him mince about what a kid can watch. I feel like I always bring up RoboCop. I was 5 years old and I saw Ed 209 gun down an executive in a boardroom, and I ran screaming from the room, and I turned out just fine. So I feel like kids can handle a lot, in terms of this, but it's at the same time, as a parent, you want to be responsible. I think it's it's the type of thing where this sounds like if they're 12 years old and they've watched Aliens, they probably can handle this. They're 12 years old and they can handle reasonably dark anime. Okay, but if you're 5, don't show your babies Invincible.
No. Well, if you're young, for me, I wouldn't show it to a younger kid because it could be pretty traumatizing to see some characters really go to when the villains and the heroes fight, how they go to town on each other, bashing each other in the face and stuff. It's kind of like you're looking at okay, so the thing about the show is it kind of condenses a bunch of stories to kind of move it along, and as a result, in my opinion, one of the weird things about the show that I had to get used to was that they really, really do focus on this is his early days, growing pains. He's gonna get hurt a lot.
Yeah.
With the comic, these stories are spread out more. The very simple situations, the kind of road that you can take out like this.
Yeah.
He's bulletproof, so it's okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But this show likes to skip the not that stuff. Okay, yeah, that's cute. Let's go to the remember that one issue when he realized, oh crap, this is serious? Let's do that. And then they keep doing that for like every episode.
Yeah.
So it almost there's a moment where it almost seems like if you don't know this character, you're thinking, God, he's getting his ass kicked a lot. And oh my God, how much blood does he have? It's that kind of thing. Whereas with the comic, it would pace it out a lot more. But at the same time, I kind of like where this is going. Because as a comic book reader, I do know that he gets better on every possible level.
Right.
What's really good about the comic and what I'm extremely excited about the rest of the show is that because it's Kirkman's creations, his universe, he keeps moving forward. He ages his characters as it goes along, for day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. So he doesn't stay a teenager. Yeah. You know, he doesn't stay a kid or whatever. He doesn't stay the same power level either. He grows. He works out. He learns from his mistakes. He becomes much more confident. He starts delivering the whippings just as bad as they were delivering to him.
Yeah.
Things happen. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of dramas that happen in this comic with relationships and everything. Really excited. There's a lot of adult. There is what kind of adult topical thing. When it concerns his dad, when it concerns his girlfriends down the line and stuff. There's a lot. There's a lot. And I haven't finished the book, to be honest with you. But I do own every copy. I just haven't ran off. I'm about to read all of it.
You and I are, we need to read. I've got, actually, made this dip into more semi-reviews. So for Christmas, I got myself the rest of Andre Norton's The Beastmaster series. I've got the Beastmaster's Arc and Beastmaster's Circus. And of course, you are familiar with the Beastmaster being the fantasy movie starring Mark Singer. It was really a science fiction series done by Andre Norton, who's really a woman, and is very talented little adventure books. And I haven't finished it, so I got these. Another YouTuber who's really, really freaking awesome, and you should all check out, Seth Skorkowski. I got his book Ashes of Onyx.
Nice.
And it's I actually got all of his books. I got the Valdeged series, and he's really good. He's also I would argue this is the best role playing guy on YouTube. He's always entertaining, he's always informative, and he's very chill. And like it's like him and Puffin Forrest are like at the top, so I definitely recommend him. But yeah, I'm bad. I haven't really gotten too far into it because I've been reading Hunancier, which is one of his Valdecan books. But I'm bad. I've just been taking forever. Meanwhile, this Star Wars Thrawn Treason took me forever to read because I was bad. Although, as I like to show off, I will again because I'm shameless. I did get it from Timothy Zahn himself, which is pretty awesome. So, but I finally read this, and I'm glad I did because it was like. And what's again, I think we've talked about this before, but it's like what's really great about Timothy Zahn stuff is it kind of reminds me of Jeff Johns, where like when a reboot happens, it's like whatever. This like fits. Like this doesn't contradict anything in his original Thrawn trilogy, and it fits very snugly into the new stuff that's coming out right now, especially the stuff that Dave Filoni's working on. So it's just like I feel like we're at this point where we're getting more good Star Wars that's kind of melding into everything very nicely. So it's all in reverse because I'm a mirror image right now. So I know,
but we wrap this up, and I will just say pretty much all I can say about the show. It's really good.
And now you and I will do a dramatic reading of the entire Frank Herbert's Dune for the next 4 hours. So, all right, get your script together, Josh. And no, we're not doing that.
No, but seriously, no.
I get to be the Baron.
I highly recommend. Just be forewarned about if you're someone about violence, you're there. But again, great animation, great voice acting. J.K. Simmons crushes it as Omni-Man.
Oh,
fantastic!
I feel a tear coming to my eye just thinking about it. And because like, the other thing you and I love J.K. Simmons in is also Gravity Falls, and I love him as Grunkle Ford in that. And it's like he like that's another series where it straddles the line of being funny and tear wrenching, and it's like Grunkle Ford's one of those characters to me.
So finally, like I said, high recommendation. I think it's fantastic. A lot of people are talking about it, and it's giving it great reviews. I can't wait for season 2. It's already been greenlit, and that's all I got.
Okay. So what I think.
Any final thought?
Well, okay. My final thoughts is like, okay. So for my homework assignment, because I was bad this week, I told him before the show. I tried to watch The Boys, and I tried watching it at work, and the internet's not the best there. Like my homework is, what I would like to do next week, if at all possible, is I would like sometime this week to binge The Boys, and we could probably talk about that next week. And we can do spoilerific reviews. So Josh, as I've said before, his greatest talent is he is the salesman. Josh can sell fire in hell. Josh can sell ice in the Arctic. He's very good. And okay. You've sold me on Invincible, so I'm thinking I want to watch Star Wars, but I kind of want to I'm thinking when I'm done with The Boys, we might want to do a spoilery review of The Boys and the Invincible once I'm caught up. If that sounds good,
yeah, sure.
Future episodes. So
that's fine with me. Yeah, perfect.
Cool. All right. I don't know what's going on role playing wise tonight. I mean, I haven't been. I'm still uploading City of the Spider Queen forever. So who knows? But I think we might be doing the Buffy game. We might be doing another follow up to the Pathfinder 2E, where I can build my Kobold army and conquer the world. Or we're gonna do this fucking thing that Davis showed me. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not sure. I think Davis wrote this. I think he did. I think he wrote a module in D&D where the bad guy is a Hydra Goose. I think we're doing that tonight, and I'm absolutely fucking terrified. I can't actually pull it up right now. Let me show the audience real quick. I did download it, so I'll show an image of it real quick, and then we'll get out of here. If I can pull it up, oh my god. Here we go. Open up, download. Yeah, here it is. Josh, I'm gonna send this to you when the show's over.
Okay.
But okay, yeah. I want to get the cover out here. Honk. A Dungeons & Dragons 5e mini adventure. I'm not sure. No, this is done by Edwin Dishkshorn, who I don't think is Davies using an alias, but you know what? I like to think that this is just no, this is Davis using an alias. And he creates a fucking goose hydra, and I'm absolutely terrified. I'm absolutely terrified, but it's okay because I'm going to use an obscure Marvel Comics character against him, and it will all be fine. Yeah, and that will be up whenever. But yeah, I think next time we'll talk about The Boys, so we'll be all good to go. Josh, don't go anywhere because I do want to show you this before you go. But yeah, this is Dreadpirate signing off. Starkiller.
Starkiller Josh signing off.
Okay, and we'll catch you guys later, and we will talking about The Boys next week. We'll be all set. So,
all right.
All right. Good night, folks. And